So let's have a conversation. I am coming from Numbers 13. And I'm coming from there because I was in prayer and I heard the word grasshopper. And I'm like, grasshopper. Grasshopper mentality is what I got. So I said, you know what? Let me look it up in the Bible and let me go to this story. So Numbers 13, it says, the Lord said to Moses, send some men to explore the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites. From each ancestral tribe, send one of its leaders. So at the Lord's command, Moses sent them out from the desert. So he sent them out, go scope out the land, and I'm just going to kind of like jump all over the place a little bit. And so they went and he said, check out, see the size, how big it is it flourishing with milk and honey? Like, what's going on in this land? I need to know. So he sends these men out. They bring back fruits like figs and grapes and pomegranates, and everything is great, right? Everything looks good. But then you had some who said, it's large. These people are more powerful than us. So what they were doing was they were reporting their fear onto everyone. So as they were doing that, of course, the Israelites started complaining and grumbling. We should have just went back to Egypt. We should have just stayed where we were. We were fine. We would have picked a king. And that's what winds up happening. People have a habit of pawning their fear off on other people. But you have one person, Caleb, who said, and this is 13:30. Then Caleb silenced the people before Moses and said, we should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it. So you had one person who had faith. You had one person who was like willing, let's do this. Let's do it. But everybody else was all scared because they had people pawning their fears off on them. So when God says, I'm going to give you something, why are we allowing people to put their fear on us? Grasshopper mentality. Tiny, tiny brains. They don't think outside of the box. So if God says he's giving you something, that means he's going to give it to you. There's no fight. So then when you go into the story, he's saying all these things and you jump into 14. Moses tells them, don't go yet because the Lord will not be with you. Okay, first of all, I am so talking to myself as well. I am giving you something. Don't allow people to put their fear on you, and you can't go until the Lord tells you to go. Do not go ahead of the Lord. Because they went ahead of him, and what happened? They got defeated. The Lord is like, how much more? How much more would they complain? How much more would they turn against me? And I saved them from Egypt. Like they forgot what God had already done for them. And that's what happens to a lot of us. We forget what God has already done. When you walk by faith and not by sight, and I'm going to use myself as an example. What keeps me going when I have to take another step or another leap of faith? I remember what he did for me all the other times. And I'm going to give you a short story. Where I live now, I lived on the north side of Austin. It was nothing but highways. Everything was just highways. But I knew I was only going to be there for 1 year. I saw this place before I moved because my daughter was looking for a place. And let me just tell you, I was like, okay, I think I'm meant to be here. Like I could just feel it. And my daughter said, I think you belong on this side. And I said, yes. I said, okay, whatever. So I knew I had to be out of my place by a certain time. And I remember I was away. I was in South Carolina. And I get a call and they said, if you can be out by, just say, next Friday, we'll wipe everything clean. because at the time I had a job, but it wasn't doing what it needs to do. It wasn't jobbing, if you know what I mean. I'm an entrepreneur. So I like to just work for myself and, trying to build these different businesses. Long story short, I said, okay, this is a Saturday. No, this is like a Friday before. And I said, you know what? Can I give you a call back on Monday? So I fly back home. Monday, I get home and I said, you know what? Let me email them. I'm gonna have the money. But it didn't make sense to have the money because I was like, I'm gonna be out of this. I need to be out of this place into a new place within 4 weeks, I think. So Tuesday come along and I said, okay. I said, Wednesday come along. I said, you know what? I need to go get boxes. I run and I go get boxes. I start packing up my house. My daughter goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm moving. And she goes, moving where? I said, God knows.